I woke up to the sound of something breathing in my room. At first, I thought it was the wind pushing through the cracked wooden windows. But then I heard it again, deep, slow breaths right beside my bed. My body froze. I wanted to turn my head, but I couldn't. Then a whisper, my name, Kosi. I jumped up, my heart hammering. Moonlight leaked through the window, casting a faint glow. And that's when I saw her. My sister, Amara, standing in the corner, her arms hanging limp by her sides, her head tilted at a strange angle. Her eyes, blank, dark, empty, stared at me. I should have screamed. I should have run. But I didn't, because Amara was supposed to be dead. Amara was my older sister, and my mother used to say she was born with a curse. The midwife who delivered her had stepped back in shock, muttering, "This one is not ordinary." But my father laughed it off. Amara was always strange. She didn't cry as a baby, just watched people with those dark, knowing eyes. As we grew up, she had a way of making things happen, bad things. A neighbor's goat wandered into our yard one afternoon, and Amara, no older than 10, touched its head and whispered something. The goat collapsed, dead. My mother took her to every healer, every prophet, every elder in the village. They all said the same thing: keep her close, do not anger her. I was the only one who wasn't afraid of her. She was my sister. But looking back, maybe I should have been. 3 months ago, Amara died, or at least that's what everyone believed. It started with the sickness. She got weaker and weaker, refusing to eat, her skin turning gray. And then one night, she let out a breath and didn't take another. My mother wailed. My father sat in stunned silence. The village buried her the next day, deep in the red earth. And yet, here she was, in my room. I forced my lips to move. Amara? She didn't answer, just took a slow step forward. I wanted to back away, to run, but my body refused to move. She took another step and another, and then I saw her feet bare, covered in dirt from the grave. She reached out, her cold fingers brushing my cheek. "You let them bury me," she whispered. "You left me there." My mouth went dry. "Amara, you were dead." She smiled then, slow and strange. Was I? The air in the room changed. It became heavier, thicker. I struggled to breathe. Then she leaned in so close that I could see the veins on her pale lips. "I came back," she whispered. But I didn't come alone. A low sound filled the room, a rustling, a shuffling. I glanced down, and my stomach clenched. Hands, crawling out from the shadows, clawing at the floor, stretching toward me. I choked on a scream. The last thing I heard before darkness swallowed me was my sister's laughter. I woke up to the sound of dirt falling. I was lying on my back, my body stiff, cold. Something was in my mouth, gritty, bitter, soil. My fingers twitched, sinking into damp earth. I wasn't in my room anymore. I was underground. Panic slammed into me. I tried to move, but my limbs felt heavy, weak. My breath came in short gasps. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. I clawed at the dirt above me, but my fingers scraped against something hard. Wood. A coffin. Number. This had to be a dream. Then I heard it. A voice, muffled, distant, laughing. Amara. She had put me here. Hours passed, maybe days. My throat was dry, my mind slipping in and out of darkness. I stopped fighting. Maybe this was how I would die. But then a noise, scratching. Something was digging. At first, I thought it was an animal, but then the wood above me creaked, cracked. Light seeped through the gaps. A hand reached in, grabbing my wrist, yanking me upward. I gasped as fresh air hit my face, my lungs burning. My body was dragged out of the hole and dropped onto the ground. I looked up, blinking against the moonlight. It was an old woman. I knew her, the village outcast. They called her Nneka, the mad one. She lived alone, avoided by everyone. People said she spoke to spirits, that she could see things no one else could. She crouched beside me, her wrinkled face unreadable. "She has chosen you," she said. I coughed, trying to speak. You, but I already knew. Amara. Nneka helped me sit up. Around us, the night was silent, the trees still. I turned my head and saw it, the grave they had buried Amara in. The earth was disturbed. The wooden marker was split in two. She was out, and she wasn't done with me. I stumbled home, Nneka following behind. The house was dark, too quiet. My parents should have been asleep, but I felt something was wrong. Then I stepped inside. The smell hit me first, rot, blood. My stomach turned. The air felt thick, suffocating. My feet dragged against something sticky. My breath caught in my throat. Bodies, my mother, my father, lying in the middle of the room, their throats cut, their eyes wide open, frozen in terror. And Amara,